What's going on, everybody? It's TripleCrown24 back today. Things probably look and sound a little bit different. To address the elephant in the room, I hit my face this morning on something. It was actually my door. Didn't want to admit it, but I'll admit it. I left a little bruise below my eye, so I might look a little bit weird. Just wanted to address that now in case anyone asked. I also might sound a little better. Hopefully, I don't sound like I'm talking through a funnel or a jug, as some may say, because as you can see below me here, I have a new microphone. I've been really excited to potentially get this, and this was one of my little Christmas gifts. So I'm very thankful that I got this because I think it's going to help me with some of my 2022 goals. Today's video is basically a huge thank you and talking about the upcoming year. So before we move to 2022, of course, talk about the year that was in 2021. I'm not really doing a recap video on pickups or anything. I just want to say a general thank you. I've built a lot of great friendships in this community throughout the years, and 2021 was no exception to that. It was definitely a wild hobby year. We've had some highs, we've had some lows. There's been a lot of very interesting news. The hobby, for those who might be newer to the hobby, it typically is not this action packed over the course of 1 year. Things typically tend to be a little stagnant. But I've put out a very diverse assortment of content this year, kind of just testing the waters. I think a lot of what people click on, so to speak, in YouTube, or what people like to see specifically from me, has changed over the years as my channel has kind of evolved. And I always want to find a balance of putting out the videos that I enjoy making, but also the videos that people enjoy watching or listening to. And I've had a lot of great feedback, not just in the comments section, direct feedback of people telling me the things that they liked or didn't like, or suggestions, but also some more indirect feedback. So that could just be through the actions of people, or just maybe some passing comments that stuck with me, that really resonated. And it kind of has made me think deeply about how I want to shape my channel and kind of share some things and what people find that is cool, because I want to bring something unique to the table. I value the time of those who want to take the time to click on my videos and who care about what I have to say. That is extremely important to me, and I greatly appreciate that. So I always want to try to make my content better for those people, to make them get something out of it, whether it's entertainment value. I'm not the most charismatic guy, so usually that's not what you're going to get out of this channel, but maybe something informative or just something to think about. I really have enjoyed kind of like my card philosophy based videos, and that's something I do want to continue with in the future. And as I mentioned before, I've gotten a lot of great direct feedback. And if you want to leave a comment on this video below with any suggestions for what I'm about to say or what I have just said, I would love to hear from you as well. But this year was fantastic overall. I've kind of pulled back the curtain a little bit more on my journey as a sports card dealer, while still showing off some pieces of my collection. But showing those off, I've found it's easier to do that on platforms such as Instagram or Twitter, just kind of posting a picture of it. I do like to tell the stories, but that usually leads to very lengthy runtimes in the videos that I don't always necessarily have the time to do. So it's been much simpler. But some of the conversations that I have, you can't really have over Instagram or Twitter, where maybe character limits or more image-based platforms don't necessarily lend themselves to those types of discussions. So that's really the type of content that I've really been enjoying making. So one thing I'm going to do, and I've talked about this before, I've attempted this before with some success, some not so success, depending on which project you're talking about, is to start a podcast. And that was something that was suggested to me by several people, maybe not explicitly as a podcast, but just some kind of series or something. And a podcast is really the best form that I can do. And I want to bring something unique to the table. So what will happen is that later this week, I'm planning, the recording is going to happen on Wednesday or Thursday. We're still ironing out the details on the first episode, but it will come out on either Thursday or Friday this week. So I will have one more video either tomorrow or Tuesday with my Christmas care package roundup. I still need to put that out, so sorry for the delay on that. But the podcast, like I said, will be out Thursday or Friday, and it is going to be called Sports Card Psychology. Now, the title is something that I may still change, but that is the running title as I'm going with it now. Once I release the episode, whatever the title is, we're just going to run with it. But the idea of the show is to talk about why. There's a lot of really great sports card podcasts out there that do a great job of telling stories. They bring on guests to tell stories about their collection or their hobby experiences, to talk about hot button topics in the hobby and to give thoughts about it. But what I really want to do is dive into that deeper level and give people who listen to this podcast something to think about or something to consider to relate to their own hobby endeavors. So what do I mean by sports card psychology? The tagline of the show, or at least as I'm envisioning it right now, is answering the hobby's biggest why, quote unquote, why questions. So why do we practice certain forms of collecting? Why do we harbor grudges or resentment towards certain aspects of the hobby? And also, why do we have certain loyalties to aspects of the hobby? Why do we make the spending decisions that we have? And I think that this is a really broad, encompassing subject matter. Sports card psychology on the surface may seem like there's only really a few topics that you could talk about with it. But I've been brainstorming some ideas, kind of figuring out potential guests, some of which I don't know if that's going to happen. Maybe in the first few stages, I'll probably be reaching out to some closer friends or some just people who I'm very familiar with and have interviewed in some of my past shows before, to just kind of get myself reacquainted with the format of being a show host. But in the future, maybe kind of stepping outside my comfort zone and asking those guests who maybe I am not as comfortable with, or I've never really had any interaction that kind of goes along surface level conversations, and really dig deep into things with those people. So I'm looking forward to jumping into that. And I think that this is something that will be a little bit different than what's out there. Like I said, I want to be able to put something out there that is unique to as much of an extent as it can be unique, but also to give the viewer something. And I know that entertainment's not necessarily my strong suit, but I think giving that thought-provoking conversation in a podcast form that will be around probably 30 minutes in length. I don't really want to go to the hour mark, just because some of the topics will be very niche, and I don't know if it will really lend itself to anything beyond 30 minutes in some cases. I think that's really a good cutoff mark. Some of my subject matter may be a little bit dry as well. So I want to make sure that I am keeping the audience's attention as well. You guys know I like to be long-winded, but some of these topics, there's just really not as much as you can dig into. They may be more specific, and some of the questions may be more direct yes or no answers rather than essay style, I guess, where someone can really go all out and elaborate, for minutes at a time on a certain talking point. But I am extremely excited to get that rolling. In terms of my other content that I'm planning on throughout the year 2022, I would like to do more card show recap videos in the style that I have been doing them. Maybe cut down on the runtime, the 30-minute runtime, maybe a bit excessive, just kind of going back through and kind of thinking about it more and more. Also talking about the collection pickups I did. I did a video on the Hank Aaron rookie that I picked up, and I need to reply to the comments on that one still, which I'm planning to do later today. But I really did enjoy reading the comments, and I will be enjoying replying to them as well, and kind of talking through the card as well as my sports card collection buying tips video that I did. I know I've only done one of those, but I haven't really bought a collection since I bought one of those. But talking through that as well, and kind of giving some of my thoughts and putting those out there, maybe even just as a learning experience for myself or something else that I can reference, because I really have had a lot of fun making those videos. And that's kind of where I'm at right now in the hobby, is putting out that kind of content and maybe reserving more of the collecting based part of myself to social media. I've just found that posting my pickups in terms of my own collection or showing things off that I've already had has better lent itself to a platform such as Instagram, where you can kind of post a picture and let it go. You don't have to kind of record a video and tell a story about it, or maybe put it on Twitter where I can, in a few characters, kind of explain a little bit about it. As I said, you guys know how long winded I am. So to be able to kind of just put that out there and not spend 20, 30 minutes just recording a video and then editing it, it's been easier on me, and it's been something that I've enjoyed a lot more as well. So that is what is coming up. So like I said, sometime within the next 48 hours or so is what I'm planning on to put out my Christmas care package recap video. I just need to record one more clip for it and then splice the clips together. And then on Thursday or Friday, I haven't decided which yet, I will be putting out the first episode of the podcast, which I'm planning to make a weekly show. Or at least try to make it a weekly show, which I think is a good balance. I've done shows before where I try to do it once a month, and I kind of just I dropped the ball on it. I had plenty of guests that I could have brought on, but it was just kind of my own inexperience, I think, that kind of led me to not really being as good as I could have been with it. And I've been able to learn from some of those experiences. And then I've tried to do like a daily show before, or a daily little episode, and it's just too much stress to make sure that I'm pumping out that content constantly and pumping out the content for quality's sake. And I don't want to be putting something out there just for the sake of putting something out there. I want to make sure that, again, it is in line with my agenda of making it informative, thought-provoking content. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video today. Would love to hear your suggestions and feedback in the comments below. If you do celebrate, I hope you had a very Merry Christmas weekend. Hope that you have a very safe, happy, and healthy New Year this upcoming weekend. And like I said, I'll be back with a couple more videos here before the end of the year. So take care and stay safe out there. Really appreciate you.